So what's up everyone, and welcome to another Warframe video. So this turns out to be part 2 of a video series on Octavia. Now I wasn't planning to make a part 2, but the reason I am is because there was one area of the original video which I had a concern about, and that has to do with her third ability, Metronome. And in the original video I mentioned how difficult it was to activate any of the buffs, especially the invisible one, once Metronome is cast. So let me go back to that original part of the video and show you what I talked about. How strong her invisibility can be. Now here is the disadvantage. Yeah, if you're not musically inclined, you have to do this to basically go back to being invisible again. And can you imagine doing that while surrounded by a ton of enemy that's trying to kill you? Yeah, so this turned out to be a significant enough problem for me that I wasn't utilizing Metronome effectively during any of my battles because I was worried that I was gonna get shot during the activation of any of the buffs. Now luckily, once I uploaded the video, a gentleman by the name of the amazing Mr. Airplane gave me some advice that if you use a faster beat music, then Octavia can hit the notes more often, and because of that she can go into her buff mode a lot more quickly. And I wanted to create this video to check that out, as well as to thank Mr. Airplane with regards to this advice. So first of all, thank you very much, and second of all, let's see how this works. Come on Octavia, will you stop dancing around? We gotta get to work. Okay, so to test this out, I took one of the Mortal Kombat melodies that was being offered in the chat area and I modified it such that I had a very simple single note melody that was going through the metronome area of the Mandichord, as you can see here. So one of the things you notice is you can't hear anything, and that's because I kept the volume low. I could always increase the volume here and you could hear the basic melody, but I wanted to keep the volume almost off because of the fact that this was going to be used only for battle, and a lot of times the music becomes a major distraction and annoyance. So anyway, by using this, I'm hoping that we could test out the theory. Okay, so to test this out, we're back in the simulation room again, and before we spawn any enemies, I want to try this out by itself. So as you can see with the new melody, you have a lot of beats that you can synchronize to, and she just has to synchronize to about 6 of them. And with this many beats, all you have to do is just button smash and she goes into her invisibility mode relatively quickly, as you saw. Now the other nice discovery that I noticed with regards to Octavia is that you can restart her ability before the previous one expires. So long as you keep on activating it by hitting the beats, then you could go back and extend invisibility for as long as you want. This is different from Ashe and Loki because of the fact that there, no matter how much duration you put on, eventually the invisibility will expire, and then you have to reactivate it again by casting the ability, and during that time you're really vulnerable. And if you're in a really high level mission, all it takes is one hit and you're dead. The other nice thing is, compared to Ivara, of course, since you're regaining energy through Octavia's passive, then you're regenerating her energy so that you could recast Metronome when you need to. All you have to do is, as you can see here, all she's doing is just restarting the clock again. And since she has about 30 seconds of invisibility, before that 30 seconds is up, so long as she reactivates it again by button smashing the crouch, then you can get the invisibility to go on for as long as you want. Now the other nice thing is, since I use Zenuric, if I do activate her Zenuric capability, then she regains her energy really fast, in which case, so long as you never forget to do the crouching mode every once in a while, you can remain invisible for as long as you want, the entire mission basically. And that makes Octavia's invisibility even better than the majority of the other frames out there, with maybe the exception of Ivara and Infiltrate with regards to some of the security lasers. Okay, so now we know Mr. Airplane was right. So you can get some really good activation of Metronome if your melody is extremely fast. Okay, so now let's try Octavia out with some enemies. And in this case, let's give her quite a few of them. So let's give her 20 of these, let's say level 110 Bursas. Yeah, okay. So in this case, I'm gonna have Octavia just work with her Legion. And as you know, that's not particularly the best weapon for such an enemy. And it's probably gonna take a while for her to kill all of these guys. However, this is actually pretty good because of the fact that we're not really testing out the enemy and we're not trying to kill all these Bursas as quickly as possible. We just want to see if Octavia can remain invisible throughout this entire test. And this is probably going to take a while. It's not really a pretty fight. And it's going to be a long drawn out battle. But so far, she looks like she's doing well. She just has to remember to keep on crouching all the time. And so long as she does, and so long as she keeps her metronome activated before her previous invisibility expires, then she should be okay. So far, so good. Now, if you remember, she only has... Oh, there she goes. Whoa! Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so she was able to get back into invisibility really quickly because, again, her notes come through so fast that she could actually hit one of the notes really quickly. Anyway, but in any case, her typical invisibility is supposed to only last like 30 seconds, but this one has been going on for quite a while, with the exception of that one time when she kind of accidentally came back into visibility mode. So yeah, I mean, this works out pretty well. You do have to be careful and keep on having her crouch every once in a while, but so long as she does that, then she can continue to remain invisible throughout an entire mission, and that makes her invisibility that much more advantageous over the other stealth frames such as Loki, Ash, or Ivara. And of course, right now I'm activating Zenurix, so she's still at max energy. And between the stacked Zenuric and the passive that Octavia has, she's not really going to run out of energy anytime soon. And she could keep on recasting Metronome as many times as she needs to remain invisible. So yeah, this is working out pretty well, I have to say. The only thing is, it is taking a while for her to be able to kill these guys. Now what's probably good, although I'm testing this out for duration, so I shouldn't use it here, is if you cast Amp, then of course she can buff up her attacks as well, weapons as well. Oh, there she comes out of... Oh, there she goes back in again. Whoa! They saw her for that short period of time, but she was able to get back into invisibility again. So this is working out quite well. Even if she accidentally forgets to crouch, if she goes out of invisibility, it doesn't take much to have her go back in again. There she goes. Is that it? Oh, there's one more. Okay, so let her crouch again so that she doesn't come out of invisibility. And is that it? Is that it this time? I don't see any more. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So she took out 20 high-level Bursas, or level 110 Bursas, just using her melee and metronome. Yeah, so this works out really well, and I really appreciate Mr. Airplane's advice with regards to that. So before, I was using all the other abilities and not trying metronome all that much because of all the difficulties I was having, but now I probably will spend quite a bit of time invisible and using Metronome as probably one of her most commonly used abilities from now on. This makes her very tanky. Basically because they don't even know what to hit at this point. Okay, well, she's gonna probably take a while to kill these number of enemy again. And so let's get out of here and leave her to her battles. Okay, so overall, a very fast beating melody works really well for Metronome, and of course that works well for Mallet as well, so there's no conflict anymore. And of course you could put it into low volume so that during battle it doesn't annoy anybody. Now once you're out of battle, then you could come back to this jukebox area, which has become extremely popular, and use your standard music to go wild in this area. So yeah, I mean, Octavia is a pretty cool frame if you start understanding how to use her well, and in many ways she may become one of the more favored stealth frame. Okay, so that's it for this video. Sorry for the two-part presentation. We'll continue on with more Warframe videos in the future, and until the next time, as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.